Yeah.
all over the place. So
All right, we did it.
It's supposed to be.
We are live.
It's supposed to be like our battle crest or something. I don't.
Holy shit, it's working.
Indeed, indeed. Just give me 1 second here. Hey, what's up, Doc? And good morning, guys. Good day. Happy holidays. We are back. Sorry for that little technical difficulty. I'm not sure what happened. OBS kind of had an issue or something. But hey, what's up, Irish Broken? Thanks for standing by. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to PvP Workshop number 6. Yes, it's yeah, can you believe it's been 6 weeks already, Taka, since we started this, man? That's time is flying by.
That's crazy. Yeah.
I am joined today by the awesome Takanashi. How you doing today, Taka?
What's up, fellas?
We got
Thank you for tuning in.
Sorrana back in the house.
Hello.
Yeah.
And we have a special guest today. You guys have probably seen some of his streams on Twitch. We have Talesavo making an appearance on the channel. How you doing today, Talesavo?
I'm doing pretty good.
Really, really happy to have you here, man. Do people abbreviate Talesavo, or do they call you Talesavo all the time?
Everyone just calls me Tails, like the
Tails,
tail
gotcha.
or tails, kind of the thing.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, it is great to have you here, Tails. So
For sure.
today we have
Great.
Sorry, just go for it.
I was just gonna say that I'm ready to shoot the shit.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, our super serious PvP panel. But yeah, we have a good show for you today, guys. We have we're gonna get into lots of stuff. We're gonna talk about, more about our classic plans, bracket leading, favorite BGs, PvP tips while leveling, all this type of good stuff. So let us first get started with just introductions and updates. So let me move over to that slide. So you've already heard our stories, Taka's story, Sorrana's story, my story. Really curious about you, Tails. What's your origin story with WoW and Classic, and how did we end up where you are today, and ASL?
Yeah, so basically, just like most people, I picked up WoW back when I think like a couple weeks after it released. I can't remember exactly when, and I didn't really play it that seriously initially. Obviously, like the game was amazing when I loaded up. Like I guess the big, it was just like a big mystery for all intents and purposes, because it was really my first MMO, and yeah, I played it for like 6 months really casually, leveling up a paladin, and then as soon as I hit 60, I kind of turned it on essentially, and then I played, much to my detriment. I played it day and night for years. And I played TBC and Wrath of the Lich King.
And he still does. He still plays day and night.
Does he?
I don't. I play TBC on occasion. I've dabbled in Wrath, like just on private servers and stuff, but nothing really seriously. But I took like a complete hiatus in 2009, March 2009. I just quit. I cold turkeyed it. I just didn't like where WoW was at the time, and I went to go play Dota and other games. Then I got reintroduced to the game on a private server from a couple of friends of mine. Shout out to Skrillas and Trix LOL, but they basically got me into a situation where they're like, just download it. It's not that bad, because you know the idea is that a private server is going to be janky, right? That's the concept. That's what we've all experienced from videos, at least I have. So the idea of like a fully fledged, functional private server that gave you the vanilla WoW experience was like a pipe dream, essentially. But I downloaded it at the behest of my friends, and then I started playing it, and just immediately I was in Elwyn Forest. I was leveling up my paladin, and it felt like it was 2004 essentially. So I got that nostalgia bug immediately. And then, yeah, I just played. I've been grinding, I guess. To this day, I guess I haven't stopped. It's been it's been an interesting journey on that front.
All right.
But,
so your first character was a paladin. Did you
Yeah, it
do a
was.
bunch of alts and then finally, grind it out to 60? Or it seems like you were pretty much hard charging in vanilla. You got to 60 and hit the ground running.
Yeah, so no, I only played paladin. Strictly just played paladin. I I got to rank 14 on my paladin. I ran a guild. We killed Cthulhu.
Back in classic? Back in retail classic?
Yeah, back in classic.
You got rank
yeah,
14
yeah.
back in retail.
Yeah,
Oh
back in
my
retail.
god, that's crazy.
Yeah.
We
So
are among
I
a
did
legend,
that.
boys. Wow.
It was you know, the problem was that my grades suffered because of it, right? That's the trade-off. So that's what happened. You know, I sacrificed grades for purple, I
Those
guess.
shiny weapons.
Yeah. And they were awesome weapons, and I just played. I played my paladin. I healed in raids. Like I was the guild leader of my guilds, but I didn't do red or anything. I was just a healing bot during raids. But outside of raids, I'd play ret, and I just played like paladin is my archetype. That's my I wish paladins were super good as like an offensive force in classic WoW. Unfortunately, they're not.
But then he tried the warriors.
Yeah, essentially. But I played that, and in TBC, I arena'd. I got Gladiator in TBC. Multi-season Gladiator TBC, I got Gladiator and Wrath of the Lich King. And then Season 6, I quit. Is the end of Season 6. So that's my, I guess, pedigree, I guess.
So basically you're a noob.
Yeah. Well, now I am. I'm washed up, right? Now I'm just garbage.
That's insane, dude. So, I have so many questions racing through my head. I'm talking to someone who back in the day, OG Vanilla got rank 14, and you were kind of a kid, right? You're talking about grades. I mean, I was like 14 or something.
I was in college at that point, and that's when, so I was like 19 at the time.
Did you get your degree after all
no, not then.
Not then. Rest in peace, degree. You had more important things to do.
Out.
Yeah,
exactly.
Damn.
So when you were in college back then, you are like 65 now.
No, now I'm 34. I'm old. I'm an old man.
What the fuck did you just say?
Yeah, I'm 34, man.
Taka triggered, man. I just turned 28 yesterday, dude. I feel like I'm about to start writing my will, and testimony.
Yeah. Dirty 30s.
So, okay, man, so many questions. So you went, oh man, so you almost got the full vanilla experience back then, getting rank 14. Was it like the dream? Did it feel and play as cool as it looked, coming from a noob?
You know, yeah. The thing is, like at the time, it's not like today. I think today the meta is so like everyone knows everything. Like I don't want to say everything, but I feel like the min max aspect is so prevalent that it's hard to just enjoy yourself. But back then we didn't know as much as we do now. Like we didn't know how weapon skill worked, at least not on my server, and it was very server oriented. So like we had our realm forums, and there was drama in realm forums, there was drama in my guilds, and what we knew was based off of Alakazam, Thoughtbot, and what people said in your guild or on the realm forums. That's basically it.
It's like what they say. If it ain't drama in the guild isn't North American, right?
Yeah. Oh no. I have plenty of drama. Yeah. But I think outside of like finishing next, I did basically everything, and at the time, I'm still glad I did it, even though it all worked out for me in the end. But at the time, it was definitely I was just straight addicted. Now I'm not so addicted, but I still play every day. But it's a different kind of addiction.
So it's the type of thing where, like, what is the motivation for you to play? I mean, so that's one thing. I'm surprised how motivated I am to play. Like, I've never done anything like you, but, I've leveled a bunch of 60s at this point, and we rolled and re-rolled so many times and done this. Like, do you find motivation to play after basically achieving, the majority of content in vanilla and going through and ranking multiple times?
Well, because like when I came back to it, I got rank 13 on my warrior, or my paladin rather, with Hand of Reg, and then after that, like 2 months later, I ranked 14 on my warrior. So like, for me at least, it's crazy because there's so much that you can do in WoW, and there's so many things that even today, it's like I never knew about this stuff. Like I didn't know about Juju flurries, I didn't know about like getting all the world buffs, I didn't know about like secret world buffs, like the UBRS fire buff. If you go to the logging camp in WPL off of the casters there, you get arcane buffs. The way people use just items in the game now are so much different than the way we used it back then, and I'm always learning things. I'm always trying to get better. As I've just shifted now, like I'm PvE oriented versus PvP oriented, just because I burned out so hard from ranking, especially on private servers. There's that problem where you do it and then you can't enjoy the fruits of your work because the server is like on the back end. You know what I mean? You have to be in you have to be at the vanguard of a server to really like enjoy the gear that you get. Otherwise, it's tough to be like, oh, AQ40's out, I'm almost rank 14. Like that incentive, you lose a lot.
Maybe that speaks to WoW in general, though, because they always dangle that carrot on a stick in front of you. So you're saying even when you get to the end of the line and you get the rank 14 weapons, maybe Sorrana has experienced this too. There's still that carrot on a stick effect. You feel?
Absolutely, because you can use that PvP gear for world PvP, for organized PvP, and more importantly, you can use that gear to raid with, at least as a warrior. And so that's the big incentive, is that I don't want to say everyone, but most people rank. Most people that I've found rank to get the weapons, and they use the weapons to do PvE. It's kind of like that. That's the ladder system for a lot of people. There's other people who don't. They'll just rank no matter what. But generally speaking, there's a lot of people that strictly do it for the PvE advantages that you get. And honestly, that's why I went in initially on my warrior. It was like, well, why shouldn't I? That was the mindset. It's like, I might as well get it. Like, I have nothing but time, So...
It's also a big deal for your guild. If you get the weapons, they don't have a guy needing weapons from the raid, so you can equip other people with it.
Absolutely. Like right now, in my guild, there's 5 or 6 Grand Marshals in my guild. Maybe more, actually, I'm not sure. But at least 4 warriors are Grand Marshal. And that means I don't have to compete against them for weapons, because they have their own weapons. And that's a huge... Like, your damage curve is so much higher with good weapons. Like, it's important. It's extremely important. So if you could just knock those out, then you're set for MC, you're set for BWL, you're set for AQ40.
Oh, man. Okay. Dude, so many questions. Okay, do you think... Okay, there's two questions, kind of. So, one, did you think the grind back then was as vicious? Like, what do you think the grind is going to be like with these lower server caps? Like, let's say it's 3,500 players. And also, secondly, I forgot my second question, so answer that one, and then I'll come back to it.
Okay, so for the first question, absolutely not. Like, back then, it was so easy. We didn't have any understanding on how RP worked. Like, that's the rating points, how it works on a week-to-week basis. We didn't have any understanding on that. All we knew is that you had to be, like, in the top 5 people for honor that week. That's all we knew. We didn't have any concept of, like, brackets. It might have been different on different servers. We didn't know dick. Like, in regards to brackets or any of that stuff, it was just, we just did it until we thought it was high enough. So, we had a Premade on the Alliance side, and, like, I played on Storm Rage. Storm Rage was my server. And we didn't have that many people on the Horde side, so it was like, it was really lopsided for Alliance. So it was like 80-20. But the way the system worked is fundamentally the same. It was like a clique. It's like a high school clique. You know people, you get in. If someone doesn't like you, you're not in. It was really as simple as that. You might have been a great player, but if you didn't know the right people, then it was hard for you to get in, unless you were like grinding super hard and matching up, and then you'd basically force yourself in. But it was really simple. We'd log on, we'd get on Ventrilo, people use those stupid Ventrilo text-to-speech, helicopter nonsense. Like, if anyone remembers that stuff.
Yes, like, of course.
There was huge drama. Like, we had in my Premade, we had a 400-pound guy, and we had a cross-dresser that didn't shower, and they would fight each other every week, and it was just entertaining. It was a blast. Like, I had an amazing time ranking. It was like I wanted to log on, just to laugh, essentially. And you get that. You still get that today. It just depends on, like, but more people are. I guess that's the difference between NA and EU. EU is definitely more serious on that front, whereas NA, everyone's just dicking around and kind of just doing their own thing. And
Sorry,
trying to
you were
flame
saying
each
with
other.
regard to like community, or I'm just
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I find
Mm-hmm.
that generally speaking, NA is just more happy to, not take it as seriously and just muck about. I like a more regimented. For me, I'm more regimented, so I want to be like, it's 2 p.m. We log in, we play until 4 a.m. Period.
I remember when we were sitting on what was it, TeamSpeak, and some motherfucker, not gonna name any names, just fucked over the brackets, and Talesavo jumps into. Nobody else fucking breaks the bracket. I'm gonna fucking kill you guys.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be tough on people, and you have to. Like, it's important to be tough on people, because if you're not tough on people, it's like a weakness thing where people will find you. So it's so weird, and we were talking about it earlier before we went live. Paranoia is one of the big pillars of ranking, and as soon as you hit rank 11, rank 12, paranoia is a big motivator. So paranoia is the reason you log on as soon as the server comes back up, and you grind out 250,000 honor that day, and then the next day, and then the next day, and then you're up at your 750,000 honor by 3 days. Like, that's paranoia, because you don't want people to take that. You don't want them. You want to break their spirits, and you don't want people who are challenging your group to get a spot. Like it's super important.
I keep hearing that from you guys, how basically it's so important that first 2 matches or something in the day where you like break the other team's spirit and then they just concede for the rest of the day. That's so true, I guess.
Yeah, that's like you don't ever want to be in this.
I want to hear that story again, Tails, when you talked about when you fought that Horde Premade and they tried because people don't really understand. I mean, even if you fight someone that you can potentially beat, they can still fuck you over for like 2 hours.
Oh yeah. So like when I was in the final exit Premade back with Dez and a bunch of other people, we were up. This was on Nost. We were up against a Premade that it was a good Premade, but they knew that like they didn't want to fight us because they have their honor to grind. Like I said, it's when it comes to Premades. And when it comes to ranking in general, you're not ranking against the Horde. Like, the enemy is the Alliance. The enemy are the people that aren't in your crew. Those are the enemy. Like, that's how you have to think about it. That's how you have to facilitate all your actions, is like, I'm not fighting the Horde. If anything, I was buddy with a lot of the Horde, and I still am. It's all about making sure that the Alliance, any dissenters or any people that aren't in the quote unquote clique, that they didn't get a chance to break brackets or to screw people over. And
like having people scouting and inspecting other guys running around in Darnassus trying to hide, there's
an entire meta game that's strictly based off of looking at people's honor.
That's so crazy, man. So not only are you battling the decay, you're battling paranoia amongst your own faction, which are supposed to be your brothers in arms, because you think they're about to backstab you or break brackets. Yeah. God, you're making the grind sound worse and worse. It is so hardcore. Jesus.
It's crazy because there's these things that they're not intended. I don't think Blizzard intended them or it to work out in the manner in which they do, but because of the system, it mutates how people act within the system, and everyone's going to act self-serving, right, generally speaking. So they just want to do what gets them where they need to go.
I see. So, just real quick. Luca with the $5 donation. Happy holidays, enjoying the stream, Kargoz. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much, Luca. Every stream you're coming in here, donating, showing the support, man. I really appreciate it, Luca. Happy holidays to you as well. Thanks again, man. So I was going to ask you, Tala, is this the hardest thing you've ever done in life? Because I think there's a fair argument to be made that ranking 14 in Classic WoW may be.
Yeah, but I've lived a pretty simple life, so for me, it's probably up there. Just because I haven't done anything of note. So for me, from that perspective, probably just out of like sheer me being a bum.
This grind seems insane, bro. I think it's... I respect this grind a lot. I don't mean that in any bad way. This thing seems so hard. Like, I just know myself. There's no chance. I'm not going for it. Like, I'm
let me backtrack here, because we want to, like, I think one of the important things is talking about, like, how you get screwed over by the Horde. So, like, for one weekend, it was Warsong Gulch weekend, and we were just, we were expecting just a normal Warsong Gulch weekend where we'd fight, you know, and hopefully we'd come out on top and be able to dominate, and that way we get free honor, because it just makes sense for the Horde at a point during Warsong Gulch weekend, especially when you could get honor, and you could get a token if you lost. So it behooved the Horde to lose as quickly as possible, so they could get into the next match and win against a pub or something. Like, it made sense for them to do that, or to just go back to Dire Mall North and farm honor at Dire Mall North, just killing people who are going to do whatever they're going to do, because it just made more sense honor-wise. But anyways, for that weekend, we were up against a Premade, and they had it in their head that they were going to camp us essentially and force us, because we had a policy that you just didn't quit, right? You never back down in those scenarios. If you're up against a Premade, you're a Premade, you should be able to beat every Premade. That's what separates your Premade from every other Premade. Like, people could put together shitmades, essentially is what they're called, which is just like friends or guildmates, where they're just looking to, you know, they'll beat pubs, but they don't stand a chance against Premades. But this was a Premade versus Premade match, and what they decided to do was that they camped the flag at the top of Warsong Gulch on the roof, and then they choke pointed the bend. So the ramp side, they choke pointed the entire ramp side with, like, slowing traps, with earthbind totems, and they had everyone camp there. All 10 people would camp up there. So as soon as the druid got the flag, bring it down into the top, and then all 10 people just sat there. And then we have our 9 people, because we have to have one person at the flag ready to cap if we win, and we're just sitting there, and all 9 of us are just trying to push through this gauntlet, essentially.
And that's where we come back to the fact that if they die, they only have to run like 200 yards, and Talesavo's got to run like across the whole fucking map.
Across the map, exactly. So we just gather, and it's like literally like the scene in 300 where you're just pushing. We all pop our free action potions, and we try to run up the ramp, and just try to take out the druid. That was the plan. We tried different things. We eventually got 2 flags. With the 3rd flag, you know, it was impossible to get. We had run out of consumables, so we didn't have free action potions. So, like, slowing traps and all that stuff worked really well. So it just kept us locked down. And their whole goal was to make sure that they would do this for 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever it took to break us, to force us to AFK, right? Just so they can say, this is what every time we see you, this is what we're going to do to you. You might as well AFK, take the loss, take the 15-minute dessert.
Damn, dude.
But, yeah, like, and that's their entire game plan. They have no other game plan. That was their game plan. And our job was to make sure that we're not going to give up. We can't give up, because the second we give up, the second we capitulate, we're done. Because they're going to do that every single time. And they know what will happen in that scenario is that they'll get the honor and we get screwed. Yeah. So, but luckily for us, we knew from a time perspective, we had all day to wait, because on Alliance side there wasn't that much competition in terms of Premades, but on the Horde side there was a bunch of, like, smaller factions, and they were in a war essentially. So they're fighting amongst themselves. So we just played the waiting game. We just sat there for 2 hours until they AFK'd out.
Damn.
And they AFK'd out eventually. They had to.
And that's what we were talking last time again, when the competition on your side splits up to 4-man groups to dodge the Premade queues, they actually can do more honor per hour as you do, just because of those Horde games. When you're stuck in them, trying to break them, and everyone else is just easy farming pucks, right?
Hey, you know me, dude. I played the victim to your Premade, right? Like, remember how we split at the end?
Yeah.
And it was like, you guys, well, I'll take this team, you take that team. I mean, we spent all week grinding, and you guys had an easy run of it, you know? Like,
there is so much to unpack here. I'm literally writing down little notes of questions I want to ask you guys as we go. For those of you guys who don't know, so Sorrana, Taka, and Tails, you guys all ranked together at some point, right?
We all ranked together, yeah.
That is crazy, dude. It's Why is everyone's Alliance too, man? I'm like the only Horde holding it down here.
Dude, that's I'm Horde now. I'm Horde main, but like I swap between. But
okay. So anyway,
Paladins.
So your thoughts on overall, knowing what you know, the grind, how miserable it can be, how much time you have to put into it. What is your overall impression of the rank 14 PvP system? And we can get like a succinct answer from everybody here, because I think it's kind of cool to circle back and kind of hear what people's thoughts are.
I guess I'll go first. For me, I think it's fundamentally flawed, but much like vanilla is fundamentally flawed. But that's the charm in vanilla, is that it's fundamentally flawed. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's weird. It's the fact that it's a huge pain. The fact that it's tough. The fact that not everyone's going to do it is the rewarding part. It's the way to separate yourself from everyone else. It's the reason we play MMOs, at least for me. That and like the community. So from that perspective, that's why I play. That's why I think it's a good system, even though it's fundamentally flawed.
So you think it's a good system overall? Cool.
Yeah.
What bothers you the most about it? If you had to, people always say if you had to change one thing, maybe not change, but what would your biggest gripe be with it? Not necessarily.
It's not skill based. I think it's my biggest gripe.
Not skill based. Yeah.
Not skill based, because you could be bad, but if you got time, you change time.
Could it be seen as skill based in some other metric though? Like, you seem there's this whole psychology aspect to it, and there's so much around like kind of almost just showing dominance against other pre-made. Like, could an argument be made that it is overall kind of skill based in the sense that you need this rapport on the server, you need to be able to like flex on people and get them to concede, or is it really? I could be totally off the mark.
The people who rank first on any given server, they're going to be the most skillful people, generally speaking. They're going to be the most motivated. They're going to be the most experienced. They're going to have name recognition. They're going to have their click already ready to go. The people who first do it are generally going to be more skilled. But that doesn't stop other people from doing it in their own time frame. So there's people who just sat there and they would fish in Arathi Basin, and they'd get rank 14.
Yeah, at some point. But it's a lot more time investment. Because, like we said, if you're not the superior premade, you might not get your standing you need to rank up at the higher ranks. So you need to kind of fight DK for weeks until the top premade is done and finished, and then you can get your top spots, basically.
Yeah, essentially, if you're in the best premade, if you're in the superior premade, you're gonna truncate your grind. You're gonna make it as quick. It's gonna be as quick as possible. So generally speaking, that's 5 to 6 months. Like, that's about as quick as you're gonna get it if you're bracket 1 from like rank 8 onwards. But if you're not like good, but you got time on your hands, you're just gonna tack on extra months. And some people don't mind that. It's whatever.
So you're saying you can get there. If you're not the best, you can wait for a premade to finish. I didn't even think about this. So when you get rank 14 and everyone gets it or whatever, they fall off, right? They take a huge break, and then they're no longer a thing.
The funny thing is, like, when that happens, people are in disarray. When people, especially if like within your own premade, if like 4 or 5 people are done that week or in the next couple of weeks, people start to panic. Because they're in a situation that's like, oh, our leader's gone, our healers are gone, our best players are gone. Who are we gonna fill this with? Who's left? Like, that's a major concern. That's always a major concern. It's like, oh, I'm used to playing with these guys.
And that's what we talked about regarding the bracket 1 sometimes needs to take people from bracket 2 or even bracket 3.
Yeah.
And just.
I think that's the thing where, like, if you're a good player, you can make yourself known. Yeah. Outside of, like, rogues. Sorry, Sorrana. A rogue is a rogue. Like, a rogue is a rogue. You want your rogue to be the you want him to be the shot caller. Like the rogue should be the shot caller, because the rogue, he doesn't have that. He's on defense in Warsong Gulch and in Arathi Basin. He's at Goldmine, doing nothing. So he should be the shot caller. He should be the one that's moving, people around. Unfortunately,
Well,
I was.
But he can't see shit though, right? He's down in the freaking.
Not for focusing stuff on the field. I mean, you
That's
can do the strategic calls, what attack next, and
yeah, I think Slicey was really good about that. Like that's one of the things that Slicey was strong about. Like the problem is that I played both roles. I was the in-game leader for the tactical things, and I was also doing the strategic things. So I was doing both. I was doing the shot calling for the fights, and that it's like too much pressure on me. I didn't play as well as I should.
But I think
this is how it goes.
But I think both you and me and Stud Alert were the same, right?
Yeah.
We all played Warrior. We all three led the Premade, and all of us kind of micromanage people.
Yeah, exactly. And that's I mean, I have my way about doing it. It's not the nicest way, but like it was pretty effective for the most part. But like where I'm like my strat, or the way I took a control in a Premade is completely different from the way Takanashi would do it, or the way Sorrana would do it. Like, we all had our own
leadership styles. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
So,
yeah, I don't like micromanaging, because once you start micromanaging, you think for other people, and they rely on you to do their work.
Absolutely,
it's fucked up.
Well,
so they never think for themselves. They just wait for your call.
Yeah, the best Premade is a Premade that doesn't communicate, because they already know their job. They already know what the best decision is. They already know how to execute.
Oh my god, I have so many amazing questions for you guys now. Okay, keep going. Sorry, keep on.
The problem is when you have to start making those calls for them, outside of like the overarching, strategy. Outside of that, when you have to start making calls for them, it can disintegrate pretty quickly. People get panicked, I guess.
So on that note, real quick, because I still want to get everybody's overall opinion on the rank 14 PvP system. So you're saying, because that seems a little bit counterintuitive to me, you're saying that the best premades are the ones where people aren't communicating that much, and they're just so mechanically sound, and they know their role, and they know all the nuances that they're maybe not. So you as a premade leader, would you rather take a group of people who weren't as mechanically sound, but communication is really high and really good and solid? There's a lot of synergy with the communication, and maybe you know them and trust them personally, or would you rather have the best mechanically, highest game sense players on the server?
I think when all is said and done, you want a mix of both, which is kind of the cop-out answer, right? But it all depends on role. Because some roles, you don't have to communicate at all, or very little. Other roles, like say you're a druid flag runner, you have to communicate all the time. Like you have to tell people your cooldowns, or you should be telling people your cooldowns, your approach. You should know all your jumps. Yada yada yada. There's so much to communicate. But like, you can play other classes, and it's like, well, what am I going to say here? I'm not going to say I'm going to say if you're playing a warlock, you're not going to say I threw out curse of tongues, I threw out curse of you're not going to do all that stuff. It's strictly, you're doing your job. So you want the communicative bunch in certain roles, and you want the people who are mechanically sound in other roles, ideally. But that never happens. You take who you can take.
I see.
And that's just how it goes.
So
for me, if I were to have a choice, I'd say mechanically sound, personally.
Interesting.
But yeah.
Cool. Okay, so just to circle back with Taka and Sorrana, you guys, what are your overall thoughts of the rank 14 PvP system? I'm sure we've talked about this at some point, but do you guys like it? Do you wish it was different? Are you happy with it? Are you kind of aligned where it's kind of flawed, but that's kind of what makes it cool?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that I definitely would. I mean, I feel the same way that it could have some more skill based on it, but at some level, like we said, if you're the best player, that means that you'll get rank 14 or whatever you're aiming for the fastest. And since you have all these kind of like engineering stuff and consumables, and it can kind of tweak and work with a lot of shit, you can potentially increase the skill cap a lot. And but yeah, I mean, I wish it was less based on like putting in 18 hours a day and more, you know, more even more skill based, you know.
Gotcha.
But yeah, but I mean, that's the thing that's the beautiful about vanilla. You just have to kind of pick what you want to work with. If you can't make this happen, then I guess you have to go for rank 10, or because rank 10 is not that bad. Rank 14 is pretty much to I don't know, get a big shiny weapon or whatever you're missing in real life. But I mean,
yeah, it takes 1.5 times to get to rank 14 than it does to get to rank 10. Like you have to do rank 10 essentially, and then tack on another 5 ranks.
And I mean, rank 10, you can pretty much just, I mean, you can join the good pre-made whenever they're missing a person, or if it's AB or whatever, and you can get rank 10 at the same time those guys are rank 14, and you're just fucking playing like twice a week or whatever.
You can play casually and get rank 10, no problem. Like,
that sounds great. That's what I'm gonna do, I think.
Yeah, because like, especially if it's if the itemization
this sounds rough.
Yeah, like if the itemization is 1.12.1, like if that's what the itemization's looking at, it de-incentivizes going to rank 14 for a lot of people. So that might make it easier, because at least I don't know for other classes, but like for a rogue, for example, because I don't want to use warrior for every example, but as a rogue, if you get a tier 0 gear, really, or 0.5 gear, the updated gear, like the catch-up gear, if you could get that gear, that stuff's broken early on. And if you get rank 9 eviscerate with that gear, that's double broken. Like, you're gonna smash people.
Yeah, I don't think that will happen.
Yeah,
I think they are just too wishy-washy on their announcement at BlizzCon. I don't think that this will happen.
I hope it doesn't. I hope it doesn't, because that but if that does happen, you know,
that changes a lot.
It changes a lot, first and foremost. But rank 10 gear is still good gear at that point, because that's upgraded. That's the 1.10, 1.11 gear, and that's good PvP gear, and it's kind of good PvE gear too, for a lot of classes.
How about you, Sorrana? How do you feel about the rank 14? Do you think it's fine?
I think so. I like it how it is, because I don't really care that much about the skill aspect of the ranking system, because I don't know, like server communities, the good thing about server communities is that you know each other, and if you play a few games against the enemy pre-made, you will figure out who can play the game and who can't. So you will figure out what druid is just outrunning everyone, what mage is just seeing the shit out of everyone, and what rogue is just one-shotting you, whatever. So I don't really care if the rank title or the weapon or some kind of like rating number in the arenas shows how high your skill play is, because I think you can be skilled and you can only rate because you don't have time for rank 14, and you're just a lot better than anyone who ranks to 14 or something like that. So I don't think that the ranking system needs to show everyone else that you are skilled. But I also agree that it's not really the best thing that someone who's just jerking 24/7 and joins some random battlegrounds can achieve the rank 14. I don't know. I mean, it's really much waste time for those people who do this. Like, I mean, if I remember Jazzle and so on, it's just insane how those people invest. Yeah, how those people invested so much time just because of a rank number and some weapons. So yeah, I mean, the general idea of the ranking system, I think it's fine. You invest a lot of time, and I still think you need to be better than the majority of the people to be the superior pre-made, to make your grinding every day a lot easier than Like if you would roll over every time, you need to invest even more time to get that honor cap and so on. So I think it's a good. I think we can live with that, and I also understand that for some people who don't have a lot of time and maybe enjoy like more of the current retail WoW gameplay, that it might be
pet battles.
Yeah, that it might be retarded for them to invest so much time.
The concept seems so alien to people like the new age gamers.
Yeah, I can understand that, but I think if you want to go rank 14, you should know that you have to be dedicated to do it, and if you're not, then you just don't do it.
So here's a simple solution that, well, not simple, but here's a solution that Taka put forward a couple weeks ago. We've been talking about it. I'm really curious to see what Sorrana and Tails' thoughts are, because this could be totally off the mark. This could be cool. This could coexist alongside the rank 14 PvP system and provide the vanilla and classic community like another form of PvP leaderboards and shit like that. And it would basically be exploring the idea of turning classic WoW BGs specifically into an esport of sorts and turning it into like an e-league. So you would have, in an ideal world, people would be able to earn all the items on their character first, copy it over to some PTR or whatever it would be, where you would have these tournaments take place or whatever it is, and you'd play like a best of 3 Warsong Gulch, Arathi Basin, whatever it might be. And in that sense, you'd be going up against, it'd be like Liquid, the Team Liquid team versus the whatever.
You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah, I mean, how would that feel to you? Like, would you think that there's legs there? Is the viewership experience would that be would that be entertaining enough? Do you think, if let's say there was a $10,000 invitational Talesavo, something like that, is that something intriguing, or do you think, I don't know?
Well, that's been going on already for TBC. Like there's a private server called Arena Tournament that had nothing scripted outside of the PvP arenas, and they would match up against each other, right? And people would do this for years. They just rank there for years. Like it's a niche community, obviously, but
we're talking like the real viewership esportsy feel experience with commentators and sponsors and all that.
Like, do I think that has legs?
Yeah, do you think that's legs, and do you think it would work? I don't know.
No, I don't think it would. The thing is, I think we, or some people, lose sight of the idea that like classic vanilla in 2018 is a pretty niche. It's not like this crazy big, like we're not talking about PUBG here, right? Like it's a niche product. I'm glad that we're getting it and stuff, but the idea of like that you could springboard that into an esport that people would be interested in. I think from that perspective, like I'm pretty sure that Classic will be successful, but like I think WoW's had their day in esports with like MLG Columbus back in 2007 and like those days when it was like the real, like that was when it was popping off and the industry was at its infancy. That's when it made sense and it worked. Kind of, but today, especially with the news with Heroes of the Storm being like their league being shut down and stuff, if that does have legs, let the game speak for itself.
Certainly.
You know what? I hate esports that are manufactured, where it's
Overwatch.
The developer.
Overwatch. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Overwatch. Yep. The developer is using it as it's an advertising arm to sell skins and sell the game.
Yep.
Yeah, but Riot did the same basically.
Exactly.
Like they developed the game first, and then they put like just a ton of money into advertising into it, and it kind of worked. It's so
for sure.
big now. Yeah.
It did work, but I think that there's only so many players in that space. I like the more organic, like CS style, Dota style. Even Dota, I mean, Dota had the international, right? Mm-hmm. But to me, it makes more sense for an esport title to start at the grassroots and work itself into, if people are willing to watch it.
But there's nothing more grassroots than classic WoW and private servers and shit. Like this is so grassroots. Like the passion is clearly there.
Can you imagine sitting on a Saturday watching some fucking idiot trying to camp the flag in Warsong Gulch? I'll be like, dude.
Well, that's the litmus test, right? Like, if it's, to me, if it's a viable consideration, it'll work itself out, and maybe give you can give incentives to kind of,
because I mean,
grow
like 50 million people watching some Korean dude fucking eat takeaway food for 2 hours. I mean,
that's the thing, you never know what's gonna take off.
It's
you never
true.
know what's
The
gonna
internet
gain
is
traction.
Internet is crazy.
But I just think it's not like feasible for the viewers. Like if you watch the arena tournaments now on like BlizzCon, there are 2 casters and they can't even catch their breath in one arena game because there's so much going on. It's just 6 people in arena, and now you have 20 or 30.
So look at all the top sports, yo. Soccer, there's a ball. Football, they're throwing the pigskin, right? Like lacrosse, they're throwing the little hard shit. Like all these things have some kind of ball going back and forth. Even like the plebs can watch and be like, oh, the ball's over there. The ball's over there. Warsong, you have a flag. So you're like, oh, here's red team, here's blue team, the flag's over here. So maybe you can take the focus off like the micromanagement of all the specific cooldowns and stuff, and go like, all right, the flag's there, okay, like it's 1-0, you know what I mean? It's 1-0. Or I have to say, I don't think they've ever gotten the viewership experience on any WoW attempt at esports. I don't think they've ever got the viewership experience right. It's always been kind of just not that entertaining to my taste. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, right? You can't. It's nice to go into the individual plays on occasion, but it should be an overarching, in my opinion, if you're going to commentate on it, it should be an overarching
because the thing here would be like, there would be a lot of different teams playing each other. There would be like only 3 games at max, so it would be kind of like limiting by rules, and trying to keep it interesting. Through that,
you'd have to impose some limits.
Yeah, of course. Also, we have a lot of shit. We have time limit on Warsong.
That's
with
bad.
That's bad.
No. Because it's not time limited. It's time limited if you don't cap flags, and you'll have things going on. But I mean, some things that they did with the RBG system in retail was that they fucking cut down Arathi Basin to 10 people, right?
Yeah.
And the whole game is based around 15. So how the hell are you supposed to make it work with 10?
That's why I don't play retail.
Is it really? Is it 10?
Yeah, it's really weird.
I mean, in Warsong, when we played on the PTR from Steezy and so on, where like the real good people just play together to have fun and like match themselves. It took like 3 hours, one map. Like one match, and how can you show this in an eSport event, man? There's just 24 hours.
It'll be a 24-hour stream.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, baby. It's beautiful.
Everyone is asleep in the arena, man.
The match would, like in today's, like we're looking at 30 minutes per match. I think it's gotta be 30 minutes per round.
On what?
At most 30 minutes.
On what?
If like a WSG match, like to get the 3 cap, it's got to be 30 minutes. If it's any more than 30 minutes, you're not gonna get that money. Like you're just
it's not efficient.
At that point. Yeah, at that point you're just segmenting the people that can invest in watching it. So
I mean,
the higher you go.
But in eSport, it's not about the efficiency of honor grind, right? It's about who wins.
Exactly.
But I mean, I remember when we were ranking, the biggest concerns you had were to fucking cook food when you had a break, when you had like 2 minutes to not piss your pants, and get something to drink, and that's your biggest concerns because we were fucking playing for 20 hours.
Yeah, like I would eat pierogies and bagels. That was my that's my diet.
That's your go-to? Not a bad diet though. Could be worse.
Yeah,
I love pierogies.
That's it.
All right. Well, okay. Let's circle back real quick. What are the ambitions for Classic, boys? What are you gonna do, Tails? You mentioned it a little bit before we started recording, but maybe you can tell the people what you have in store.
Yeah, I'm just gonna try to parlay what I built today and just continue on. I'm kind of doing my own thing, but
going rank 14.
I want you know, it depends. I think is the answer to that. It depends because. You know, I could do that. You know, I'd consider it, but there's so many factors that have to be, checked off first. How quick am I going to level to 60? That should be pretty easy. You know, where does it start? It started. They said 4 months after release, right? Where is when they would release the honor system?
Wow, 4 months.
What? I think they said 4 months. Did they not? Am I crazy?
God, I read like 3 months, right? I read.
Well, whatever it is, it's not going to be. You can't grind at 53, at 60. You can't grind your rank. You know, you can't get to rank, you know, 4 or 5 while you're leveling up. So that's you've already lost that window where those first 5 ranks are the easiest ranks because you're doing it as you level.
And some people used to do it just to get the mount discount and shit too, right? They used to stay on top of it, so you're not. That's not going to be a thing.
Hey, 10G is a lot of money when you're level 39 going into 40. Like 10G is 10G.
Hell yeah.
You're living the dream if you can have an extra 10G to work with. So.
Do you think these lower? So we'll get everyone's. I keep going off on tangents, but real quick, do you think it will be easier with a lower population on the server? 3,500 people to get rank 14.
Absolutely. Yeah. Not even a question.
Okay, not even a question.
And I think the big thing is that you're also homogenizing the groups, so that plays a big role into it because when you're ranking normally, you have NAs, you have EUs. They got their time zones that you have to work with. You know, you have the personality differences. You have all these factors. But now, the assumption, I can't say for sure whether it's going to be the case or not, the EU's probably going to play with EUs, NAs are probably going to play with NAs. Like, I don't see the amalgamation of the two.
So since we talked about this pre-stream, right? So, you know, we discuss this shit, but all the time off stream. And since you're from like North America, we have to get this shit on camera. So what do you feel the difference is between like the NA PvPer and the European kind of PvPer? Is there a difference or are we all the same?
I'm gonna talk like from just anecdotes, right?
Yeah.
So I don't want to generalize anything. This is what I've experienced, and there's different people and they have different motivations and they do different things. But from my perspective, like NA are just lazier, like, and they're louder.
What?
They're lazier and they're louder, but they're funner too, though.
Hey.
So they're lazier, they're louder.
No
and
reason
they're funner.
to be rude.
Like we had this one guy. He was like a fake, or he was a wannabe rapper, and he believed in chemtrails.
Oh no!
And fluoride in the water and
that
gay
was
frogs.
Randon's friend. Yeah.
And he would just rap and he would argue with these people. And I had a blast just listening to it because I have a recording somewhere. I should pull it up. It's funny. Like 2 hours zips by. Whereas on EU side, they come prepared. They have their FAPs. They have their greater nature protection pots, greater shadow pots. They've grinded out everything. They've got their full professions. They have level, dude. Like the idea of not having level 300 engineering shouldn't come into play when you're ranking. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's stupid. But there's NAs that didn't have engineering. Period.
Come on, NA, you gotta step up, NA. What's going on? What is this? What is this EU welfare meme? I keep hearing about this. You can really just play WoW, like, and you sponsor it in the EU?
No. So because I live the neat lifestyle, so I know I'm well documented, just a 24/7 player. So that's why I can be hardcore, right? I don't have a job, I don't have debt, I don't get government money. I strictly live off my stream, and I don't have to pay rent, right? Lucky for me, I'm in a good situation. But in NA, how rare is that?
Very rare.
If you ain't working in NA, you ain't eating for a lot of people.
Damn straight.
So the government's not going to help you in that scenario. It's just not going to. You're not going to get the kind of assistance that if you're in a Scandinavian country, they have good welfare systems. They have good. There's a good net. There's a social net that if you're not working, you can still live. You know, they'll make you work maybe a couple of days a week, perhaps, right? But it's just you know, it's easier to be jobless, which means it's easier to dedicate your time in activities that don't like it doesn't give you don't get money from it. It's just a hobby, right? So that's the difference, and I find that to be the case. It's true. Like not everyone who ranks doesn't have a job. There's plenty of people who've ranked who've had jobs, you know, and
it would have to be like a home job though, right? You'd have to, I mean, just 20 hours.
No, we had a Croatian that I ranked with a Croatian. He worked at a gym, and he would rank while he was at the gym.
Wait. Who was that?
I can't remember his name, but he sold his account later on. He used a tough to get to rank 14. He was Croatian.
Okay.
It wasn't with us. It was with the Final Exit Premade.
Okay.
But Lemonade also had a job.
Lemonade had a job, but a job is different in
Lemonade
America.
Went to university or something.
Yeah. He had school, he had a job, and he tried to grind 14, which to me is insane.
And he did it.
He did it. Like, shout out to him. But for me, I think the big thing is it's not necessarily about you know, it's just the ability to have that social safety net and be able to do things that you wouldn't normally do. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing either. Obviously, probably playing vanilla WoW, getting rank 14 isn't the best use of someone's potential per se, but you know, as long as it makes them happy, then. But in NA, if you don't have a job and you go on welfare or something, what do they give you for welfare? I have no idea, but it can't be that much.
Probably get food stamps and shit, EBT.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that accessible though. I don't.
Can you get WoW tokens? Can you get WoW tokens?
I don't think so, man.
I don't think it's a livable. I don't think you get a livable amount. I could be wrong. But generally speaking, like from my Discord, you know, NAs, they have to work. They just have to work all the time.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing jobs that they don't want to do, like their delivery, where they do delivery stuff, or they have high-paying jobs and they just like to play WoW. And EU's the same way. I've got plenty of people that I interact with that have plenty of money, you know, and they just don't have time from the EU. But I feel like when it comes to rankers, generally they don't have a job, but they can still live, you know. And the PC gaming culture is so different from NA. Like in NA, we're all about consoles. Like Halo, we're talking Halo, we're talking, you know, COD and stuff. That's really big here. In Europe, though, you guys grew up with PCs.
So true.
And it feels like you guys, culturally, you accepted it more. Like there was like ninjas in pajamas and McDonald's and stuff. You'd never see that in NA.
Yeah.
Like, you'd never see that in NA. Like the most you'd see in NA is like Mountain Dew with Halo shit on it. Like that's what you'd see.
Hell yeah, dude! I used to buy those Halo 2 Mountain Dews.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And like the competitive scene is the console competitive scene is healthy in North America, where in Europe it's PC oriented for sure.
So Europeans may have the edge in PC gaming, but Americans might have the edge in console gaming.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's just like you know what it reminds me of? It's like back in like the UK in the 80s, they were big. They used Amigas and stuff. Like Amigas were super popular over there. But like if you go to NA, it's like Commodore 64 and shit like that. It's just different. We grew up with different things. Like I wouldn't have gotten into PC gaming if it weren't for a friend who was into PC gaming, because I just play console all the time. And like the majority of us all play console, but I guarantee you, like Takanashi or Sorrana, someone introduced them to PC gaming, right? Like that's my assumption.
I actually played every fucking thing I could get my hands on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but you know, that's me, right? But
yeah, it just
the reason I started with the PC thing, because we ran an internet cafe, right? So because of that, you know, I kind of was. But once I tried PC, I was like, you know, I can never fucking go back to console.
I was the same way.
Yeah, it's like such a difference, just the whole movement thing, and yeah. I tried to play PS4, and I was like, I felt like I was fucking mentally challenged. Like, oh, what's the fucking circle?
Yeah, it's different. It's got auto aim. It's just different. It's just different. That's really as simple as I can put it. Yeah, but I don't want to generalize. I'm just saying from what I've seen, that's the difference. But I gotta say though, EU I've found to have like more skill in general. But they're also like, it's 10-to-1 ratio. There's 10 EU to 1 NA.
I was just about to say, I think it's probably more popular in EU, dude. Like, it's pretty rare to feed people. Like, when I meet someone from New York or something who plays classic WoW private server, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, it's like such a crazy thing. But
there's like, it's crazy because people will be like, they're from my city, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What? You're from? How, you play classic WoW and you're from my city? What? Like that's insane to me. And I live in like 400,000 person city, but it's just yeah, we don't. It's not like a big number. Like we're loud, you know.
Are you
we're
States or
people.
Canada or? I know
I'm
you're
Canada.
NA. You're Canada. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But I mean, do you guys think it'll change? Because I feel like there's different rules, and like in the Europe region, people are not that scared of kind of like downloading and fucking playing private servers.
Yeah.
Whilst you're talking to the U.S. continent, and people like farm get fucked by my ISP and
Absolutely.
I don't know, right? You think that'll change something once Classic hits?
Well, when people get DMCA takedown notices from their ISPs, or they get DMCA notices in general from their ISPs in America, that actually means something. There's like serious consequences to breaking the rules there because of their legal system. Like those things matter. Yeah. Like if you download Game of Thrones, like you could potentially get arbitration on that.
Yeah.
Like here in Canada though, if I get a DMCA notice from my ISP, I trash it. There's no legal avenues for them to bring me to court essentially. And I don't know how it is in Europe, but I'm gonna assume that it's less. Like they're
there's a reason why almost all the big things come from places like Sweden and shit, right? Like Pirate Bay and stuff.
Yeah. Their jurisdiction doesn't stretch to Europe, but in America, if someone wants to go after you from a legal standpoint, they have that opportunity. Look at Blizzard; they went after servers that were NA hosted for years, like private vanilla servers. Yeah. They would hit them for years. They'd give them DMCA takedowns and stuff. They'd, chase them legally. And the idea that when NOS came up, and Kronos and all these things, the big thing was that they were untouchable. That was the mindset. Is that Kronos, NOS, Phoenix, Emerald Dream, these were untouchable servers. Blizzard never took them down. They just Kronos is a business. Warmane is a business. They are a business that makes money off of their consumer or their player base, like an actual business. You couldn't have an actual business in the United States of America.
No way, no shot, dude. No way.
That worked off of emulated servers. It just wouldn't happen.
Look what happened to Soulja Boy. I don't know if you saw that. He made his consoles and now he's fucked. But
but I mean, don't you guys think that could potentially be this blind spot of the market? I mean, saying that 5 million North Americans gonna start playing the game once it hits because they don't want to get the
I don't know if it's gonna be a significant amount of people, but they definitely exist. People don't from around the world. People don't want, generally speaking, there are people out there that don't want to go into the gray zone, like they don't want to download CMU emulator to play a little, Breath of the Wild.
Yeah,
they don't want to do that because they want to stay on the right side of the law. Even if, like, morally speaking, I think emulation is a good thing from like a moral standpoint. I think it's a good thing. It's obviously people abuse it, present company included, but the idea of emulation is very important to gaming as a whole, in my opinion. So I don't mind downloading CMU and playing a little Breath of the Wild, but there's definitely people out there that are on the other side where they're like, well, no, I'm not going to do that, even though I'd have a superior experience. I'm just
but there are also so many people around, like in retail WoW. When you tell them I'm playing a private server, they are like, oh, you're so broke that you can't pay the subscription a month, and it's they don't even realize it's not about the money you save. Or
for some people it definitely is, though. For some people it definitely is.
Probably a minority, though. You think people with $10?
I think most people can afford the $15 or whatever it would be. But if you go into like Eastern European, countries where $15, or if you go to Southeast Asia, where $15
that's true
is a big deal. Like those places, you're gonna get more pushback on that front. But like for me, I'll get like me for a perfect example. I play on private servers. I've been playing on private servers for a long time. $15, I make more than $15, a day when it comes to just like me streaming WoW, right? So $15 is nothing for me to pay for a legitimate product. It's just we don't have a legitimate product.
Definitely.
I actually went in and paid for retail, and I'm subscribing until Classic is released.
Yeah, I should be doing that. I don't know why I'm not doing that, because I should be farming gold in BFA so I can just get WoW tokens and just get for free. And I got nothing better to do. That's what I should be doing. But I mean,
farming mythics. Let's stream mythic dungeons all day. Oh my god, this is a mythic 14, guys. It's the same as last week and the week before, but we can do it.
And you can eSport it.
Yeah. I tried the Project 60 thing, guys. I tried it for like 2-3 days. Yeah. Oh man, it just wasn't that fun, myself. Man. It just was not that fun to me, man. There's so much that was I could go on and on about that stuff. But one quick question though. So with a smaller server, let's say 3.5K is probably the lowest end of the servers. Let's say it's like 5K. But let's say that people are, if it's an East Coast server, generally people are going to be on the East Coast. Like right now on the private servers, either EU is awake, APAC is awake, or Southeast Asia, or NA is awake. People are awake nonstop, 24/7. Is having these off times, is that going to help with ranking as well?
Yes, but maybe not, because it doesn't matter. You're just putting in the time.
All right.
It's gonna be so different just based on the competition on your server, because your server dictates what happens, right?
Yeah, I remember back in retail that when you have those down times when everyone is going to sleep because they have to work next day and so on, then battlegrounds do not open. So it's not efficient to farm in some hours because it's just that. So you could also go asleep with your premates and then come back when the server is alive.
You can do that today, as long as your caps aren't 2 million. You can do that today. Come on, like you get less sleep, but you could still do. I mean, you could set your time to that.
I can remember when we had the weekends. I mean, we kept like in 3 days, like what was it, like 600K something, 700?
Yeah.
Right?
You didn't have to do that on the weekend though. We used to do that like between Wednesday and Saturday.
Yeah.
Like the weekend was just bonus. The funny thing is what the weekend did was it allowed people that weren't in the premades to catch up. Because say in Warsong Gulch, you could pub the weekend in Warsong Gulch as just you. And you could do I had a friend, he did 800,000 honor during the weekend as a pub. And people were like, yo, like, who are you? What are you doing? I did that, actually. I remember Grave. I don't remember what guild he was in, but he was a Night Elf Warrior, if I remember correctly. I put a shipmate together. It was just my guild, We were just dicking around. I was rank 9 or something, because I wasn't in the premade at that point, and we were just grinding the weekend because we wanted to get exalted with Warsong Gulch. So we did that, and so the way it worked, remember it used to be multi-queue, where you could be queued in WSG, you could be queued in AB. Yeah. If they saw my shipmate, the Horde premade would actually just leave and go to AB, not because we were good, like not because my guild was good, but because we would fight.
Yeah.
So they'd go off to AB, we'd stay in WSG, and it was just a matter of who could run the flag fastest. Like that's all that mattered. Like, can you get it under 8 minutes for the 3 caps? That's all that mattered. Like it wasn't competition. So we just grinded out a huge amount of honor, and then the bracket leader contacted me. He's like, you need to not go over this certain point, right? And I could have respected that, or I could have said fuck you, right? I had those two options, and I respected it because, I'd done it before, so I understood like why the brackets are important. But you could get that done on any server, I think. Whether it's like, there's going to be more downtime if there's, let's say, 3.5K people to 5,000 people. You're going to have better downtime, but it really just comes down to the competition on that particular server. Because if you have 3 premades on the alliance...
So what is what in theory, like, let's say you have 3... This is going to actually segue into the next discussion. So we don't have honor right off the bat, right? Let's say there's no honor right off the bat. Is it worthwhile seeing the first, little bit of the servers play out to see which ones are really populated, which ones are not that populated? Because would it be advantageous to roll on a super low pop server, a PvE server? Like what would give you the best shot at rank 14 if that was your goal? Would it be the lowest pop PvE, or, and then we can move into our actual strat for Classic?
I think it's not. You don't want to be on a server with a low population.
Oh, okay.
You just don't want to be. The problem is, like, then you're on a server with a low pop. And I don't know if you've ever been on one of those servers, but you're not playing WoW at that point. Like, you're playing a single-player game. Because it's just not... Without the people, the game is just a shell.
Yeah. Also, you have to take into consideration that you have fun while ranking.
Yeah,
it's exactly. A big thing, just having fun and fighting. And if there's no one you can fight, or if it's like ruffle stomping 24/7, there's no fun.
But what if you could transfer? Sorry, keep going. My bad.
If you farm packs 24/7, that's the most efficient honor, but it's no fun. You're falling asleep every 2 games just because nothing's happening and so on.
It's like packing tuna in a factory.
Yeah, it's always the same. So it's maybe the best or easiest way to get rank 14, but what can you do with the rank 14 after you did it that easy? Servers probably nearly dead. You're just about raiding. There's nothing going on after. Barely any BGs opening. So there's no fun after you achieved the rank 14. And that's what you want to have, right? You want to get rank 14 and then have fun with what you gained out of it.
Makes a lot of sense, dude. Makes a lot of sense. So maybe that could be an issue. Like, maybe, do you think they're going to have server transfers on launch? Because what if people did that on a low pop, got easy rank 14, and then transferred to freaking the high pop one? Yeah.
I hope not, because that it's one of those things you have to. That's going to be a tough subject. It's gonna, who knows? Because I think transfers really helped some servers and really hindered others. So, because if you can transfer off a low pop server, say you're on a server where it's 80-20 Alliance versus Horde, and you're on Horde, you're like, I don't want to be on this server with 20% Horde. We're getting stomped everywhere. I want to go somewhere else. I want to go to Skull Crusher or Manaroth, where it makes more sense. They go over there. Now your server is depleted even further, and you lose a lot of the enjoyment, because it's like, without the cross-faction interactions, a lot of what makes vanilla, you lose a lot of that.
Yeah.
You don't get the confrontational stuff is the fun part. Like the battles in Blackrock Mountain where you just try to keep your buffs and people are trying to kill you as raids, like 100 people are going into Blackrock Mountain and you win or lose. Like, these are important aspects of the game. Me getting just buffs like Songflower Serenade, or getting, ZG Island buffs, getting those buffs without cross-faction interaction, then it's not scary, it's not difficult, it's not interesting.
Yeah, I think paid server transfers destroy the community, especially like the server community. Because what's so nice about vanilla WoW is that you always play against and with the same people, so you know them at some point, and you know who's good, who's bad, who's like funny, who tries to fuck you up at every time. So you can just prepare, and it's always nice to fight those people. And once you have the opportunity to have those paid transfers, that won't be a thing anymore. So I think the approach, what they did back in the day on retail WoW before the paid transfers came in, was a good approach, because those low pop servers, those really low pop or maybe dead servers, those had the opportunity to transfer to like 3 or 4 different high pop servers, and then your dead server was closed.
Yeah.
So I think that's better. You can choose out of those, and then it's closed, and you repopulate.
Also, when they open up for paid transfers, they kind of paved the way for selling your account.
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
Exactly in that second, we got a lot of fucking insanely geared people that just came to the server and stuff like that. Yeah.
That's so true.
I'm one of those crazy people that I want like 30,000 people on the same server.
Oh,
I'm one of those guys.
So you like the private servers then, huh? With the Omega pops.
I want as many people as humanly possible. Obviously, with like dynamic respawns, like because that just hedges your bets versus like a server declining in numbers, right? If you start at X amount of players, there's going to be drop off. That's just how it works, right? Like we all know it's inevitable. You want to have that drop off as high as possible. So like for me, it'd be amazing if there was just like a mega server where it's all EUs, all NAs combined.
Okay.
Like, but yeah, the likelihood of that happening is probably pretty low.
But I agree with that because a beautiful thing about Nostarius was that you had like 200 different cultures, you know.
Yeah,
like people from the Australia. You had, even if you had a job, let's say you're from Sweden, right, and you work at a job, you're working night shifts. Well, you know, nobody cares because you could join a guild from like down south in the Australia or from the NA, and you could kind of, you know, have your thing going anyway. And that was a really cool thing. And also you met a lot of people. You had to fucking communicate. Whilst in retail, you have like, okay, so we're gonna take all the Spanish people and we're gonna move them there, and all the French people, we're gonna play there. And what they did was they fucked up a lot of guilds who had French and Spanish and whatever in the same guild, and suddenly they had to like choose where they want to play. And what happens if those guys stops playing and they want to go back to their old guild? Well, they can't because they have to like make another character. And I don't know. There's
it's
so
tough.
many.
There's that's the problem is that there's like pros and cons, right? So
Let's say it's launch day right now. Let's say tomorrow Classic is launching. Like it's about to launch tomorrow, and you have to assemble your squad, and you have to strategize, and you have to prep, and you're freaking out because you're going to be streaming it, and you have all the jitters. What is your overarching kind of broad stroke strategy going to be in a world with no honor system for 3-4 months, et cetera, et cetera?
I've been doing it for so long that I already know my grind. Like my grind is pretty stamped in at this point. It's essentially getting to 60 as quickly as possible, but like at 56 to 58, I work on my pre-raid biz, and then I grind gold because you're gonna need the gold to facilitate anything. But like I have different goals than maybe other people because like I want to join like hardcore guilds because I'm in a hardcore guild now, and I'm in a semi-hardcore guild, so I do both of them essentially.
Are you leveling solo? Are you leveling as a squad? Are you picking up some of the PvP items as you level?
If you're not doing server first, right? Or you're not a hunter or a warlock, don't go solo. And maybe a mage. It's on PvP servers. People lick their lips the second they see you alone.
Yeah.
They're like for me, it's like either you do a 2-man or you do 5. So like 2-man's efficient, 5-man's efficient.
Yeah,
it doesn't sound efficient, but it is. Like
you get the group bonus at 5, like a little more. You get a modifier.
Well, there's no group bonus on Northdale. Well, that's only Chronos. Yeah.
Oh, really? There's none on Northdale? There should be. There should be like 7% after 3. It's like once you get to 3 players, and there's none. Okay.
No, there's no group bonuses, so it's just flat XP, and everything takes longer. Like unique quests take longer. Everything, and it was pre-buff. So you didn't have Hinterlands quests, you didn't have some Badlands quests, you didn't have some Barrens quests, and you didn't have Fareless quests, so on and so forth. But it's just being able to defend yourself with another friend. It plays so much into leveling fast. If you're by yourself, if you're a warrior by yourself, hamstring kite leveling, and anyone sees you, they're gonna kill you. I mean.
Right.
You're gonna spend more time in the graveyard running back to your corpse than.
And if they see your name is Talesavo, they definitely gonna
even I mean there's like like I stream, so there's like extra incentive for people to kill me. But my friends that weren't streaming, they were in the same situation. They wanted to group up with me because they were like, I can't do this anymore. Like every hunter, they all have lupos and they're all killing me. Like I can't even fight. I lost to so many hunters that just had their pets on me.
Yep.
Because it's that easy for a hunter to demolish you.
Yep, Lupos is busted, man.
Yeah. The Lupos meme.
How about
but
you?
It's just one of those things.
What about you guys, Sorrana and Taka? Do you have a strat if it was launching tomorrow?
Well, leveling for me is a thing I just want to get out of the way as fast as possible. I hate it so much. as a rogue, you're not the most efficient leveling class. You're only single DPSing everything, and once you don't get the opener while leveling, you're dead. And you cannot really level with daggers in Classic, because there will be no front stabbing and shit, so you have to go combat swords, and combat swords is so shit against everyone if they jump you first. So leveling will be one frustrating thing for me. I want to get out of the way as soon as possible. So I will just level the shit, and then when I'm 60, the game begins for me. So I will try to get my previous as fast as possible. And if there's some time left after that, while I'm just, I don't know, waiting for the resets of MC, I will probably level a mage. What North said the last workshops, to be efficient in farming in Diamond or something like that. Because as a rogue, getting gold is, I mean, it's possible if you have the Devil Saw shit going, or if you, I mean, I don't know, herbing is something that is really shitty at the beginning because the prices are so low and no one has gold, so prices for stacks are low. And the lockbox farming is okay-ish, but not really efficient compared to a mage farm. So the best thing to do for me would be leveling up a mage real quick, just to do the farming for the gold, and support my rogue with that, to get consumables done for the honor system release, I think, because everyone will just get consumes as much as they can and then go full out when the honor system releases.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That's kind of what saved me on Starius when we talked about earlier. We were doing both PvE and the ranking process, and I went like, okay, so fuck it, I'm gonna lose a lot of time and whatever, but I'm gonna level a mage, because in the end, it's like with the two different farmers. You have one farmer that want to eat their potatoes every day, and you have the other farmer that's gonna starve for a year, and then he's got like a whole fucking field of potatoes, and he can live his life in harmony, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing. You waste a lot of time at the start, and you fucking grind your ass, and then in the end, you can just enjoy the game, and yeah. So that's my plan as well. Just make sure I get two characters, my main and a farmer, and try to grind my ass off the first weeks, because it's pretty much going to be like free for all at the start. So being ahead of the curve is going to be
it'll be very ahead of her. So I, as a lot of you guys might know, I get a little passionate about leveling. I do enjoy leveling. Weirdly enough, it's I like it, and my strategy, knowing what I know now, is I think I'm gonna go super hard right off the gate, and I'm gonna level probably a warlock first, or a hunter or a mage, probably a hunter or a mage first, but it doesn't matter so much. And I think this is one thing that a lot of people don't really realize, but the first character you get to 60 is the most important, but once you get to 60, you can start dungeon mob tagging everything, and I'm going to dungeon mob tag every class of 60. And that's going to be the safest way to do it as a streamer on a PvP server, dungeon mob tagging. And finding a group that's like super aligned with you and your schedule, who's down to like do that with all your characters. Because everybody needs a mage, you need a warlock, you need certain things. Like having a 60 mage in your back pocket is just so good. And then if you can get ahead of the curve, look for those items like the Title Charm, get to the Badlands and get some of those PvP items, Skull of Impending Doom, get some of those things. Look for, frickin' Broken Tooth if you're a hunter. Get ahead for those reasons, get to 60 first, and then start, dungeon mob tagging while we wait for the honor system. That's the plan.
I love how the hunter is like, I love leveling.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
While the rest of us suffer.
Yeah, exactly.
I love leveling too.
It's like the guy that owns 10 McDonald's telling the guy who's working in the fryer, don't you like working? What the fuck is wrong with you?
It's true, man. It's true. It's something about that auto shot noise. I just love it. I love the little bow pop. It's just.
I've wanted to play a hunter for so long because I only play physical classes, so I'm strictly physical classes only. I'm not a magic guy.
Yeah.
And I want to play a hunter, but I hate pets, and their end game DPS is it's okay at the beginning, but it gets atrocious towards the end.
Yeah.
Mage leveling could be so efficient on low pop servers. when you can AoE grind.
Oh,
And
yeah.
there's like not like 5 more mages trying to do the same shit on your spot.
Yeah.
Yep. Definitely.
Yeah. So many, like you said, so many pros. When you're two, even if there's like 4 of the opposite faction, they're gonna think twice about trying to kill you because you're fucking playing together all the time. That means that you could potentially be really synced and just even if there are 4 of those guys, they're gonna get their asses kicked. So yeah.
Warlock leveling is really fun too. It's just I've leveled up so many level 20 warlocks at this point that I lost count, but it's just that they diminish in efficacy towards the end of the game. Like, why would you farm with a warlock? You could like enslave demons and go farm out in the gorge, the Whispering Gorge in Winterspring, and just kill a bunch of elites and farm Eye of Shadows and stuff. Or you could go on a mage and make like 200 gold an hour farming Crocs and Tigers and ZG. It's actually, mages are a crazy class. Yeah. It's insanity. They have no weaknesses.
Because it's like you can I mean, you can kill 2,000 demons and not see the Eye of Shadow, right?
Yeah.
Well, just farm on your mage and then main a warlock. You know what I mean?
Exactly,
you have your little farm bots and stuff. But I think one aspect of the game I've been talking about a lot recently has been the dungeon mob tagging, and I think that if you find a good group and you can like min-max dungeon mob tagging, you can level characters super quick. Like Taka was telling me the other day how when he would do it on his warrior, he would do all of ZF in like 3 pulls, and that's not even super min-maxed out of with all consumes or whatever you need, but that's insane, man. Yeah. So
like Stockades is really good for that because you just you have
only bullshit with Stockades is those mobs fucking knock you down.
Yeah, sure, no, yeah, that's true. But if you're like, the thing with that, the problem really is that if you get overwhelmed, but if you're a warrior and you have say you have a 60 warrior, right? You have a sword and board, you could run through that and they don't do enough damage to actually. Like, you don't take damage with the shield on. It's like 1-2 damage. So you gather them all up, and then you drop the group, and you throw dense dynamite, like whoever's tap grinding, and then that warrior could finish them all off, and it's really quick. Like,
We had like I was just demo shouting, and I had piercing howl, and tier 2 gear, and it was fucking like no. Yeah. I had 1 hot from a druid or from a priest, and that's all I needed to fucking kite them and just pull like almost everything. Is fucking insane. You see that guy just like dinging, level 38 to level 48 in I don't know 2 hours, 2.5 hours. It's insane.
Yeah. And also, from a pre-made perspective, leading a pre-made, is it advantageous to have multiple classes that you can jump on to improve the composition, or is it way more so just player skill over class composition?
I mean, it's so important to have a bench. It's wild. Like if you have, to have a bench. If you're in a good enough pre-made, you're gonna have a bench because people want to join that pre-made. They understand that they're like from an XP or a honor per hour situation. That if they're in that pre-made, they're gonna blow out anything they can do solo. Or within like a small squad, if you've got like a really good pre-made, so you want a bench. Period. Like you want a big bench.
But I think that's kind of like a natural thing, right? Because you have the people that want to grind rank 10 or whatever, right? So they'll be on the sideline and just if you ever need me, just holler, So
yeah. Like anyone who anyone who ranked understands that. It's not just you're competing, like that spot, like especially for classes that you don't need a lot of, like rogues, warriors, that bench could be 15, 20 people deep. Like there could be 15 warriors that want in a pre-made versus like a priest, a paladin, a druid. You may have one if you're lucky sometimes, and that one might be garbage.
All the warriors, that's the trash talking you to the pre-made team leader, right?
Oh yeah, I mean.
Yeah, so I mean, then there's the mind game as well.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's like
people have no shame. It's like people. Let's say that Talesavo is running a pre-made, right? And there's 3 other warriors, and Talesavo be like, well, Tak is supposed to be here right now, so we can just we just run a game before he comes, and then we invite him, and then you have other warriors that'll go like, I think Takanashi told me yesterday that he's not coming. He told me that I could take his place, right?
Dude, there's a lot of social engineering. Yeah. A lot of social engineering.
Yeah. That's also the point in the game where I installed the Warcraft Instant Messenger, because I couldn't handle all the whispers, and the Warcraft Instant Messenger shuts down at 50 whispers. Yeah. It can't take any more windows if you have 50 open, so it's not perfect.
You just get to the point where you ignore people. That's what I did. I was just like, I'm not even gonna pay attention to my window, like my whisper.
Yeah, but I tried to answer most, because it's so, like, it comes so rude on their end. If you don't answer at all, they are like, oh, this guy is so cocky, he's not even answering and not even tell me they are full.
I didn't care about that kind of stuff. I was just like, dude, I got things to do. Like, I can't. I always try to like go back and be like, if like I'll look through my whisper list and see who whispered me, and if they're the right class, then I'd be like, okay. We got spotted.
I mean, I'm German, but I try to be polite.
Yeah, I'm Canadian. I should be polite, but sometimes it just doesn't. It kind of butts heads with the realities of what needs to get done.
Yeah. What?
Kargoz, can I ask? If you get an idea, do the lights blink synced, or what happens?
Yes. Every time I get an idea, a genius idea, they flash. So I'm pretty high speed right now. You can tell, like my brain's cranking. Tails, what is the best memory you've ever had in all of WoW in your whole history? I know what Sorrana's is, I know what Taka's is, but it's something I like to ask people.
The best memory,
like, or just like what? Yeah, I guess. Man, it's so subjective, right? But like, what is the most memorable?
The thing I look back on where I was like really proud of was it's funny because I don't even think like I was that proud of like rank 14. I was more relieved to be done rank 14 than proud that I'd done it. But that has its own there's an appreciation there. But I felt like when I led my guild through Cthulhu and we killed Cthulhu, I think that was because it was a rare thing, Not everyone killed Cthulhu. We couldn't get it done in Nax, but I think that was like I had 40 people that I was in charge of, and I had to get it done, right? And I think that was like, for me at least, I was most proud of that because it was like 40 people, we got it done. Like, it's a hard fight. It was a hard fight back then. It's not that, like, looking back on it, it's not even a hard fight, but back then, yeah, people had like 15 FPS. They were playing on laptops, and they'd have babies screaming in the background and like internal arguing and stuff. Like, the idea that we got that done was, I still look at like our kill picture. I still have it, and I'm still pretty proud of it.
That's awesome. So it's not even a PvP achievement; it's a PvE achievement.
No.
Wow. I
think the PvP it's watered down since I've done it so often now. That
I think. Do you remember? You remember when you and me and Studalert had that chat? Studalert asked, like, I think he was about to pass down. No, maybe we were only like rank 12 or some shit like that, rank 11. And we talked about, what would be like our ambition, what makes us want to get rank 14 or whatever. I don't know if you remember this shit.
I don't remember this conversation at all.
Yeah, because it's like, you guys asked me, so what is your like dream to achieve in World of Warcraft, right? And I said, well, I would like to be.
I remember this.
You remember, right?
Yeah.
I said, I want to be a pre-made battleground leader. And once I hit rank 14, I want to be the first person that isn't remembered as a fucking douchebag, right?
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
And then you came on like I can't remember, maybe a month later or some shit like that, and you just you logged on to my voice chat and you told me, hey man, we had this chat like last night and we talked about all different people, and yeah, You remember what you said?
I don't remember exactly, but it was like Takanashi was the only guy where I was like, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
Like that's a good guy right there. Because I mean, it brings out the worst in you. It really does.
Yeah.
It's just
that's my best memory. I mean, I have a lot of good memories. Yeah, definitely. But I think that when you came online and you told me that shit was probably the most memorable moment for me. Yeah.
Can you say it again really quick? Sorry, Doug, I stepped away. Was that the thing where you're saying when you were leading the pre-mades?
Yeah, and it was Talesavo that I had this conversation with, and Talesavo that kind of told me that people thought I was a good guy. That was you.
That was
his ambition.
That was you.
Yeah.
That was you.
We were just saying that it's just so easy to not be. It's the internet. You know how it is. You know how it is. We're all trolls. You know, even good people are. They can become. Or they can be easily fed into not being so nice. But Takanashi was always one that he always treated people with respect and and kindness, and that's I wish there was more people like that in the world. I'm not that person, but I wish I was, because we just need more people like that. Just need more people. Sorrana's the same. He's a nice guy and stuff. So it's just you don't find a lot of that on the internet, but when you find it, you appreciate it. At least I did.
Yeah. And it was amazing to because like you said, the rank 14 rank, and it can make you into something that you're not, just kind of at the end you're fatigued, you're fucking not getting sleep, your girlfriend is threatening to throw you out of the house. I don't know what, but it can be a lot of things, and it can potentially remove all your good sides and just show your really, really bad ones. And
how do you guys not burn out when doing it? I'm sure you have these horrible days where you just don't want to fucking play. Like
you do burn out.
I did. Yeah.
Yeah. I think everyone burns out. I think it's just the nature of it. You burn out. But you burn out, but you still log on. You don't want to log on. The idea of logging on is repugnant to you. Like,
oh god.
It's awful. That's the thing. I think people, if I ever wanted to portray one aspect of ranking and why it's so difficult for a lot of people, is that it's not, you don't get a choice in the matter. You have to be online. You don't get to choose. You can't sit there and be like, you know what, I'm going to take an extra hour to, get some. I'm going to go get a Euro or something. If we start at 8, we're starting at 8, and we're going to play at 8. And then you're playing the entire day, and you don't get a choice in the matter. And I think you do get a choice in the matter if you're like a normal person. You'll be like, yo, F this, I'm out of here. Like, we're done. Like, I'm not gonna grind anymore. I'm sick of this stuff.
Yeah.
But if you want to persevere, in my mind, it's really, I gotta log on. I can't even think about it, and I'm just gonna do the absolute minimum possible in regards to engagement, where I'm like, how can I do this that takes the least amount of actual focus to get through this day? And everyone, you'll have those type of days. You just gotta power through them, I guess.
You just gotta power through them. It's just like going to a job or something, man.
Yeah, it's like going to the gym. Sometimes you don't want to go to the gym?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's like, oh man, what the hell?
Except instead of fucking in 1 hour, it's fucking...
Tell him what you did during the lazy hours.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking...
We were talking about that stream.
Yeah.
So, it got to the point where... so we already discussed how in pre-mades, if you're in a good pre-made, then you can 5 cap, and then you're essentially farming their graveyard, right? And they've given up. Like, you flexed on them, they gave up. They're not posing any challenge. They're just basically trying to survive the graveyard camping, or they'll just keep spirit rezzed and not come up. Once it gets to that point in the night, in the day, whenever, that's when you can relax. That's when you can half-ass it. So what I'd do is I'd get some pierogies. I'd boil up some pierogies. I'd go to my bed, and I'd have WoW in the corner in a little screen, right? I'd make sure that we got to got to their graveyard. We were 5-capping them, and then I'd literally sit there and watch documentaries in my bed, like just chilling out.
While you're in a BG?
While I'm in a BG,
my God,
just
dude.
doing like not giving any orders. I'm not on voice or anything. I think Sorrana remembers, right? I wouldn't even be on voice.
Yeah.
I and I was bracket lead. Like I should be on voice all the time, but I was like, okay, we're up against pubs. You know, this isn't hard competition. I'm gonna go lay in my bed and like wonder what the hell I'm doing with myself, essentially. And that's towards the end. Like that was, I had a couple weeks left, and I was over it. I wanted to be done. Like because what you have to understand is that I grinded to Field Marshal before Nos died, and they pushed me back a rank and a half. So I had to grind again.
Oh,
I had to grind through Marshal again, and then Field Marshal again. And like Field Marshal alone is 3 weeks. Yeah. So I was over it. I was way over it.
I remembered when Cutler and me were still playing. I think that was when you were done. So I took over, and then me and Cutler did the whole thing. And Cutler we went to farm. Cutler capped the farm, like he clicked the banner, and then he was just standing there silent. And I was like, Cutler? Cutler? And he just fell asleep instantly.
Yeah.
Like he clicked the button and fell asleep.
This was so sick
too.
Yo, be honest. Have you guys fallen asleep on your keyboard at this point?
Never.
Never?
No,
Okay.
But there were situations when I was just I couldn't do it anymore. I was so exhausted that I told those guys I have to go offline now. I can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
And then you have the horrible thing, you know, when you set up your alarm on the smartphone and it tells you, look, I'm gonna ring in 4 hours, okay?
Yeah.
And you just watch that message and you think, oh, 4 hours.
Also, you're within your group, you have people who are account sharing too. I'm not gonna name names, but people account shared.
Yeah.
So they account shared,
and suddenly they're fucking shit.
Well, there's that aspect, but more importantly, they're fresh-faced and bright-eyed. They're ready to go. They can knock out in 12 hours like it's nothing.
So there's some characters that never stop. They're just on 24/7.
Oh yeah. Oh, like
damn.
And you could pretty much tell some of those guys. It's like they were playing amazingly, right? Just fucking doing everything perfectly, and then suddenly they just didn't communicate. Yeah. They never fucking did anything. They kind of ran after one person the whole game and just fucking spamming flash of. I'm not saying names, but you know, yeah, it's like insane, you know, and that was kind of fucked up.
Yeah,
you never want those people in your pre-made, but depending on, you know, it happens. Like that's just how it goes.
Can you recover from, like, let's say some emergency happens or you have to go on a vacation, like the wifey's bugging you? Can you recover from like 2-3 days away, or is it GG?
You can recover. You absolutely, like, people like Lemonade played catch up all the time because he was always. The thing is, it's demoralizing more than anything.
Yeah. That's the worst part, because you have to play yourself like the last 2 days or 3 days. It's fucking crazy.
You have to play with like the bracket 3s and shit, because the bracket 1s and 2s, they're done. I don't want to log on. Like, I'm not going to log on to help someone else because that's insanity. Because I already set the caps. Like, they're already done. The caps are done. I'm at the cap. All I'm looking at, you know what we're doing? We're spending time scouting and making sure people aren't breaking cap. That's all we're doing. Like, we're not doing anything else.
Sleep, eat,
scout,
repeat.
Have those moments where you're just like, you're just grateful that you don't have to log on. So the idea of like going on an alt and helping out the pre-made is, I don't know anyone who's ever done that. Like, that's a hard pass for me. Like, that would never happen.
I have to say that actually, you know, some people that ranked just when we were ranking on Nostarius, you know, when they were finished, they actually said that, you know, if you need help, then, you know, we can help you a little bit. When
I used to say that. That's bullshit.
Well, I did it sometime with my mage.
I know that Sorrana did it sometimes, and Katla did it a little bit, and
I helped Katla the week after. He had 1 week more, and I was playing the whole week. I didn't even lose much that week.
I got rank 14, and I literally disappeared. I was Houdini. I got the hell out of there. Like, I never did another BG on that server.
But I mean, I don't know if everyone here knows that Talesavo ranked a 13 Pala.
Yeah.
Back to back a fucking 14 warrior.
Yeah.
That's like a solid 6 months of shit, right?
It was more than that, yeah.
But there are many people doing this. Like you said earlier, they want to do it for the PvE. They want to get the weapon for the PvE to slay the dragons quicker. So then they are just gone.
That's my motivation. I'm not gonna lie. Like that's why I did it. Like that warrior was an alt. You know, it made sense for me at the time to do it because I was like, you got to remember back then it was on Nost. There was no idea like this. No one was like worried about the server going down. They were talking about all this like clustering technology.
Hey, I mean, seriously, people were paying $2,000 for a fucking rank 14 warrior, right?
It's crazy.
I mean, people that don't really understand what.
Crazy.
I mean, it was fucking insane.
Like I said, that like the guy I ranked with, I don't want to say, I don't remember his name, but I don't want to say it anyways if I do remember it. But he ranked to 14, and he literally sold the character like 2 days afterwards.
Jesus.
Like. It was just in and out. Like, it was just extra income for him. Yeah. Like, looking back on it, you're like, God damn it, we
should all have done it. We should all have done it.
No, I mean, there is that mindset where it's like, yo, I could do it with $2,000. Like, that sounds pretty hype to me, but, you know, there's some of us, like, my name, I'm not super popular or anything, but like people know who I am for the most part, so I wouldn't be able to sell anyone called Talesavo anyways. And I name all my characters Talesavo or some like variation of it, so like that'd be an easy ban if I wanted to do that. But
it's like the guy who got Warglave's world first.
Yeah,
he's a fucking idiot. Bought that account. It's like,
yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
He sold that thing for like $5,000 or something. People got money. People got money. Like that's just how it is. And you know, that's what it felt bad though, because it was like he was ranking with the tough the entire time, so like the unstoppable force. So he like, and he was a warrior, so like sometimes he was a detriment to the team because he was just a third warrior, where you would rather have a mage in that situation, right? Or you'd rather have an offensive priest or something else. And it's like you get kind of pissed off because it's like, oh, we just helped this guy rank 14 just to sell the character. You know, there's a little of like, I don't want to say like I was angry about it, but I was like disappointed, I guess.
Kargoz, are you awake?
I'm awake, man. I'm absorbing. I'm a sponge. But
I saw the lights were shutting down.
Yo, I'm awake. I promise. Okay. All right. So next point we can talk about. I think this is pretty interesting. Like, at least for me, working as an entrepreneur and starting businesses and working in the startup space for many years and doing this, like, the best business leaders that I've come across are the people that are able to handle those awkward situations. Someone's underperforming, someone's fucking up. So whatever happens, they're able to handle that with grace and not come off as like a bad person, or, you know, like, I'm curious, you guys seem like you've all done leadership roles in these pre-mades. How do you handle people that maybe aren't pulling their weight, but they're good guys, or some people, like, you know, how do you handle those situations?
It's not even that. That's not even what you have to worry about. It's people who, they have no social tact at all. Like, the way they interact socially is like, it's not normal. You know what I mean? It's just like, these guys, I don't want to call it autismo, but it's essentially like they don't understand social cues and stuff. So you try to be tactful and you try to be like polite and respectful, and they don't understand that. Like, I'm sure you guys know who I'm talking about. Like, yep. I'm not gonna, like I said, I don't want to say anything, but like, there's people like that. They're unmanageable. They're unmanageable. So you have to. It's like a cancer. You have to cut them out. Like, if you don't, then, or sometimes if you're hurting, you just have to accept it, and then they just create a bad environment in general. But I'd say, like, for me, I'm pretty poor at that, so I'll let the other guys talk about it. But I'm like a no nonsense. You know, we're gonna go in there. If you're not carrying your weight, then sorry.
You just call it like you see it, and just be honest.
I try to. You know.
Mm-hmm.
And because that's the way I would want it. That's the way I want. Like, I get called out. I like when people call me out on my stream. It helps me. So I try to, I try to do the same thing. And it's not for everyone.
Do you like pull them to the side though and say like, look, man, there's some parts of your game.
No, I'll call them out on the.
Damn, that's savage, dude. That's savage.
Yeah, it's bad. Yeah. That's why I try not to be like. Now I'm not a leader. Like I don't do the leadership stuff because I know like it's a character flaw for me. It's not something that I want to do because like at the end of the day, these are people, right?
Yeah.
And you don't want to put people on blast, just to put them on blast. But I have a penchant for doing that, so I try to avoid that.
That's one thing that I'll just chime in really quick. At least in the retail space, I don't have a lot of experience like you guys in the classic space, but that's one of the major issues that's plagued WoW PvP in the retail sense, that players are so savage when it comes to like there's not a lot. There's high barriers to entry for new players trying to get into it and learn the game. One small mistake, they're disbanding the group, putting you on ignore, putting you on blast, whatever it is, and it's hard. I wish that, at least in retail, I always wished for some sort of LFG system or something for people to create kind of a funnel of new players coming in and learning the game and stuff like that.
You don't want that. You don't want that.
Not in classic though. Not in classic. But
it's a Dota 2.0.
Yeah, I'm just thinking. All I'm saying is, with regard to classic, if players are really like elitist and it's a really really vicious environment, it's gonna put a lot of people off. But maybe that's okay, because maybe it's the same type of thing where some content is just supposed to be legendary content. You can't keep up with the best, then too bad.
But I think the thing is that we all want this to succeed. Like we want it. I want classic WoW to be the most popular game in the world. But I also have to manage my expectations. I understand that, it's a 14-year-old game. Let's not trick ourselves here, right? There's going to be an audience, but it's not going to be some grandiose audience. But we should try to be accommodating and try to teach people as best we can without being like huge dicks about it. We should try to do that.
Yeah.
Like, some people are going to succeed at that. Some people aren't.
That's what I. My mouth shut. Yeah. I mean, that's what I don't understand. So for me personally, I mean, people who played with me, they have to tell me. But I would describe myself as a patient guy. But once the limit is reached, I'm the German guy, then it at some point, like all fun aside, but if it's not working, like if you're playing pre-made games and you're shit talking all the time and it's fun and so on, but then it all goes to shit, you start losing, then the limit is reached on my side. So that's where the fun ends. If it's all working, then it's time to have fun. But if it's not efficient anymore, then I think I have to at least let them know that they should be some kind of serious to make this work, and then we can go over to shit talking again.
Yeah.
So
that's smart.
I don't know.
Oh, we got a donation in the chat. Chris, $15. Hey, Kargoz, good to see you on again. I've been taking care of some stuff and getting back into gaming myself, so that's why I haven't been on. Thank you, Chris. Yeah, it's been a minute, man. I hope all is well with you, bro. Happy holidays, and thank you very much for your hard-earned money, bro. Thanks, man. All right. Well, let's see. What's your favorite BG, Talesavo? That's another talking point we have. Do you have one?
I do, but it's not going to be the answer that people expect. I like Ultra Valley because
my God, dude. No, get out of here!
Get the hell!
I love the Nost version too. Let's go, where you go in,
yeah. Thunder Fury,
avoid each other.
Thunder Fury tanking.
Yeah, you just go to the end. You try to kill Drek or you try to kill Vandar as quickly as possible. And you get the hell out of there. No,
yeah, I mean the Northdale thing is shit.
Well, the Northdale, it behooves you to be in Ultra Valley 24/7. Like, you don't want to go to AB, you don't want to go to WSG because the honor is too good in Ultra Valley right now with
really?
the buffed X. Yeah,
sad story. Very sad story.
Wow.
It makes for an interesting grind, but yeah, that's the play now, and it's not like it was on Nost where you would just rush through and try to get it done in 4, 6, 8, 10 minutes. You have to take out every tower because you want the honor and the rep. Well, the rep doesn't matter at a point, but you bring in people that want rep.
You could eat a lot of pierogies in AV. Put people on follow.
Hey,
not if you're a tank, then AV is the worst fucking shit.
No, I main tanked it. It was fun. I love that.
I was like fucking instant Q, like you rushing to the end.
Love that stuff.
And I had to pull. I think I was tanking 3 or 4 ads and just and then out and fucking in again. I was like,
honestly though, like if we're talking like PvP though, it's WSG. I think it's the
because in AV I had to fucking miss a Q to fucking be able to go take a piss.
Damn.
Yeah, WSG is like it's compacted enough where you get every aspect of the game. You get the flags, you get control, you get burst, you get damage, you get strategy. It's all there. That it's the most fun if like there's 2 equally skilled premades going after each other, and you're not on a timeline. You're just doing it for the competition. It's the best for that. But like, if you're asking me like, what do I want to grind to rank 14? I'll say Ultra Valley all day.
Wow. Interesting, man. And do you? No, this is another thing that we've talked about extensively. But you've played. So you're main Horde right now, right?
Main Horde, yeah. But I have my Alliance ult that's like almost as well geared.
Okay. So and you've ranked 14 on both? On both Horde?
No, this is a new server, so I didn't rank 14. I didn't do it. I haven't done any ranking since my last Warrior.
Oh, okay.
So my last Warrior was on Lightbringer, which was Old Anathema, which was Old Nost.
Right. Now
so it's just been jumping.
Do you have an opinion on Horde versus Alliance, or is it player over everything?
When it comes to like, just in general, like the arching.
I guess through the lens of PvP, but yeah.
Okay. So, if we're just looking at PvP, it's still, I mean, Alliance is the superior faction. That's just how it is.
Okay.
It's hard, like, having Paladins are too strong. They're just too strong. They have too much utility. Like, they're just too good of a. It's too good of a class. If you throw a Blessing of Sacrifices, you're unCCable. If your healer's getting focused down, you throw it a bop. You know, if your warrior's hamstrung, you throw it a freedom. They have too much control. They're too good defensively, and that's how it plays out in BGs for the most part. Like, shamans are fine. There's nothing wrong with shamans. You know, when it comes to like WSG, the tunnel control that Earthbind affords you and things of that nature on ramp, having that AoE Earthbind is good, but it's something that, you know, at the end of the day, piercing how a warrior can do that, you know, and they're much more susceptible to things. You know, you Curse of Tongues a shaman, he doesn't have that many options. Like, it has to be cleansed. Who's going to cleanse? If your mages are decursing the Curse of Tongues, then they're not doing their job, which is either control or damage. You know, from what I've seen played out, it's Alliance is the superior faction.
I appreciate you take a pretty clear stance on it. I do. We've been back and forth on this in the past weeks and stuff. It seems like Horde may be a little bit pigeonholed into a more aggressive line of play too, whereas
you have to be aggressive. Like, if you play the long game, you're gonna lose every single time. Like, that's why the Horde premades that had like 2 warlocks, 2 hunters, 2 mages, and just dominated middle, and 2 shamans that were generally elemental shamans, like that shadow cleave, or I don't know what the hell it was. That makeup is extremely strong with no warriors. They didn't have a single warrior.
Wow, that's
just
so weird.
Casters. Yeah,
that's what I want to play.
That worked.
That sounds so fun.
That worked. It worked amazing for them. They would just control middle, and we couldn't do anything about it, and we just got crushed. That's its own playstyle, but I think you could do that on the Alliance side better. You know. So
can you guys explain to me too, one thing that always gets talked about? People talk about how gear scales throughout the different stages of vanilla, and towards that, it gets thrown around a lot. Like, towards the end of vanilla, like, stamina starts scaling really well, and then physical damage starts falling off, and spell damage starts picking up. And do you guys have an opinion on that? Do you think that's true? Do the spell damage scale better, and stamina and all this?
I think it's the crit, right? On spell damage, you get with AQ and Nax, you get so much spell hit and crit that you just blow people up. And before those AQ patches, you don't have the gear to support that, and that's why melees are so good.
Yeah.
So you just
like if you've ever seen an elemental shaman, literally 2-shot 7k HP warriors, you know what's up. Like just the curve goes insane towards the end of the game. Because they're beefy enough at that point, they're beefy enough where they're not going to get one shot by a sword spec warrior, and at that point, they have an advantage.
Do you think the meta game really shifts even in PvP on those later patches? But to be honest, I never PvP'd that much in like Nax patch that I can share any experience with how the game shift. Yeah, there's no
incentive.
Yep,
because the gear's better, right?
Yeah, that's people talking about certain classes falling off and blah 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 blah, and this is a question we fall back to. But why? What's the reason for ranking the 14 when Nax is released or whatever? Is it to just get the title? Because
at that point, it's prestige.
Well, that's why it would be cool to have this E-League type thing, though. Potentially, like some esports, something that people are still playing for a prize pool. They're still playing for recognition in the same way that any soccer game or Dota game or CS game would be playing. That would be a potential reason to play. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean it would be, but I don't think that has legs. Maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? You never know what people will watch, but when I think if someone was like, Talesavo, would you sit there and watch
people
Warsong Gulch?
People watching?
Absolutely not. There's a new Lisa Ann scene, so that's not gonna happen, boys.
I mean, there's people watching guys stream arenas for fucking 12 hours a day every day, winning every game. So I think that if it could be executed well enough, I think watching people fucking do BGs all day long with different teams could be really cool.
Yo, Talesavo, so you're gonna rank? You're telling me that after ranking for 20 hours straight, you're not gonna use your remaining 4 hours to watch other people play Premades on Twitch?
No, that's a hard no.
In bed, okay.
That's a hard no.
I got you. Oh man. Oh, something happened with the stream, I think. Let's see here.
I think that's a refresh.
Only YouTube.
Yeah, just refresh.
Right?
I think it's working now.
Yeah, it looks good on Twitch.
Is it working on YouTube now? It's working for me.
I had to refresh.
Okay. Yeah, just refresh, guys. Refresh. So, but does that change anything for you, Tails? Like, if spell damage starts getting better and better, and melee starts falling off, maybe maybe elemental shamans become more of a threat in those caster cleaves on horde? No.
But I mean, by the time that happens, so there's a very, I don't know if it'll be like this in classic WoW. Like the way I envision classic WoW, the way I kind of want it to go down is that there's what is ostensibly a ladder system, right? So the way the ladder system works, or a season system. So it's just like private server. I'm sure everyone's heard about the fresh meme, like a fresh server.
Oh yeah,
that's what people want,
big time.
So the way it would work is that after a certain point, let's say 6 months after the first time a guild killed Nax, 6 months later, Blizzard essentially refreshes and is like, this is a new server, or they migrate those characters onto a different server, and then you could use that as a playground and do whatever the hell you want on that playground. But we start anew essentially, and we start fresh, and then we do the grind again, because that's what I think what people don't realize is that even though there's a lot of content in vanilla WoW, it's not never ending, and especially for hardcore players, that you get to that point pretty quickly where you just don't have anything to do outside of leveling and alts. Like, in my mind, that would be the best system where there's an opportunity to reroll essentially. I would love that, but we'll see what happens. But
it's never ending potentially if you could get that whole esports thing to work, though, because then it would just be like seasons. It would just be like a timeless game where everyone, You log on.
Yeah, I mean, and then you can use the wherever you ship off these, I guess, legacy characters to. You could set up some sort of format there if you wanted to, if you were so inclined.
Yeah.
But I think by the time AQ40 goes out, you see a drastic drop off. Like as soon as you on private servers, as soon as the war effort is out, the amount of people that are participating actively in PvP is significantly less than beforehand. Like prime time for PvP is at the start of the server to mature BWL. That's your prime time. That's when everyone's going to be participating. That's your window, essentially. After that,
after AQ release, it drops off.
Yeah, it's huge. It's a huge drop off, and this is like every private server. You're gonna still have people that rank. You're gonna still have people that PvP, but it won't be. It's not to the level that it is during that MC and BWL era.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I think the Nostalrius delay on the timeline, just because they hadn't AQ like scripted good, they delayed it for so many weeks and months that you had a huge delay after BWL patch to the AQ release, and I enjoyed that, to be honest. Like the larger time span from patch to patch, I think that was a good thing. And now we are in this mindset that you have to release everything a lot quicker than like the original timeline or even NOS timeline, just because everyone needs to experience the content, because Classic is releasing soon. But I think it fucks up more than it helps the people.
It absolutely does. This race to fresh is the most annoying thing about private servers. Most annoying thing. And you can understand the motivations because, like I said, like Chronos, they're making money. It's a business for them. They want that hype. They want new player base. They want to generate revenue. I understand it, but I think it has a negative impact on the servers as a whole. Like
they don't have that longevity. The longevity aspect. Yeah. Okay.
Because even it's not like we're asking for the moon either. It's literally like instead of a year, let's do a year and a half. Like, give us a little bit. Let's truncate MC so we're not grinding MC for 6 months, and 3 of those months is just garbage loot, and let's extend BWL a little bit. You know
what I think it is though, dude? It's just because there is such a minority of players in your boat who are actually playing at that super high level. That the majority of people leveling is just like the majority of the game for probably most people that play it. That they just like are making that data-driven decision. But I feel you on that. It definitely kind of fucks people like you over. You work so hard, and then it gets.
The thing is that it would also help those people if that content was just that content for longer, though. Okay, maybe we could still have MC for 6 months. But let's have good loot the entire 6 months, at least. Like, that's not too much to ask. Because right now, what it is like, you go in MC and you're just crying the entire time because it's just awful in regards to loot. I like to do it because I like molten core because I'm weird. But like most people, they go in there and they're like, "What the hell are we doing here? Like, what is this garbage? Like, you want me to do this for 6 months straight with no like once a week? This is what I'm gonna do for this loot." It's tough for people.
Yeah.
No, I mean, if you're only raiding, that's true. If you're not enjoying any other part of the game, then it is boring. Yeah.
Yep. Well, we've been streaming for about 2 hours now. We had about 5 minutes just with the stream starting, so we're gonna start wrapping up. If you guys have any pressing questions, drop them in the comments now. Be sure to check these guys out. Again, I put all their Twitch down in the description below. Sorrana's been streaming. Talesavo streams pretty much. What's your stream schedule like? Every day? I always see you
every day. I'm not gonna do it today though because I'm beat.
He's beat.
Talk more than I thought. No, I'm not beat. But yeah, tomorrow I'll pick it up as usual.
Yep, but it's twitch.tv Talesavo GG. Taka's is in there as well. Be sure to check these guys out. And yeah. Any last questions? You guys play NA or EU? And are you playing Alliance or Horde? That's a good question, Michael. I'm personally playing Horde. I think Taka is down to give it a shot and play on an NA server. How about Sorrana and Tails? You guys are Alliance, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, I mean, I will definitely play EU. But I'm not set on a faction now. I think I will follow my friend and people I play with in Premade. So I will ask around what they do and then join them.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm not dead set on Alliance or Horde. I don't want to go Horde because I went Horde, so I've only played Alliance forever, and then I just recently just switched to Horde. So I've done Horde. I would like not to do the third Horde, but it really just comes down to which guilds are available, which guilds are hardcore, which guilds are going to be on NA. Like NA and hardcore, they're kind of like two diametrically opposed things.
Yeah.
So like, it's true, man. People say that they're hardcore. There's so much fake hardcore.
You think you do.
You think you are, but you're not.
or there's the we're semi-hardcore, which means that they're just trash. Like that's the reality of it. Like when they say they're semi-hardcore, I'm putting them on blast, but like generally speaking, NA guilds it's hard to find like hardcore representation for NA.
So you're gonna go EU?
No, I'm not going to.
You're not even going to
the ping, baby.
Oh, you need the ping, baby. Okay, so you're gonna form your own hardcore guild in NA.
No, I'm not. Absolutely not.
So,
absolutely.
but Tails,
Yeah.
are you thinking once classic hit, are you contemplating playing on super popular server with big time streamers, or you want to have like your own thing, or what's your thoughts?
That's a good question, man. I don't know yet because all I know is that if you're Asmongold, or you're soda popping, you're not gonna roll on a PvP server.
But are you sure?
I think not.
It's like the most fun thing I ever heard was they talked to Preach, right? And they asked him, so you're gonna play a PvP server or PvE? He said PvP. And he said, what's your thoughts about getting ganked? And he said, let them try.
I don't know. I think that's...
Well, I like it. I like a challenge.
You might be eating his words, though, dude. You might be eating his words 9 million deaths later.
I think he underestimates how bad people take the ganking. Like, server getting stream camped. Like, I got stream camped for 8 hours, and I'm chill. It's not a big deal for me. It comes with what it is. Like, 8 hours, but 8 hours is nothing compared to something like you got to remember that Asmongold has like 30,000 viewers. Yeah. He plays classic WoW. It's not even about people ganking him. It's just people denying him the actual tags.
Yeah.
Like think about that.
That's true.
Think about Asmongold. He has 100, 200 people just following him, taking his tags. Like,
or they could potentially lead the way.
Every mob in his whole zone is tagged.
One or two.
They gotta create a special Asmongold shard.
Exactly.
I think the first big time dude in World of Warcraft was Kungen, right?
Yeah.
Whenever he fucking logged on to Magteridon in Europe, he had like 2 million idiots level 1 running after him between the auction house and the bank in some guild called Kungen Fanboy or something.
Damn.
No, I mean, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like I would not enjoy playing on a server where there's no good premates, like you said, because even if it's nice to have a free rank 14 grind, you kind of enjoy the fights and the good on the good people on the opposite faction. So I definitely need to be on a server where there's some competition, But
So last plug I'll put is Taka and I we're starting a guild. Taka will likely be GM or something like that. I'm gonna be kind of the marketing arm of it. Just doing my thing. But if you guys are interested in being part of the community, come hang out in the Discord, man. We've been forming the community. Usually there's a bunch of us in there every day in, day out. So if you guys are interested in that, that's my quick plug there. But any final thoughts, guys? We're gonna close it out here.
Can I give some shoutouts?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Shout out to my boy Peroda. If you want to watch PvP, go watch Tribe_V2. And I think, who else was it? John PvPs. If you want to watch some PvP, they're good players.
Tendrous, yeah. But he's done. He's like...
Yeah, he's done.
You finished ranking and now he's in this phase where you're trying to rest your body and your mind.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, shout out to Skrulls and Tricks LOL for getting me into this stupid game again.
Yeah. Oh, big shout outs. All right. So I think we're good. We're going to end it here, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today on this lovely, what is it, Tuesday? Tuesday? I've lost track of reality, so it's Tuesday, I'm pretty sure. Thanks for hanging out, guys. We'll be back next week, and see you guys next time. Take care.